vicious dogs and ominous weapons. Those terms, of course, bring back all sorts of imagery, all sorts of symbols from the fight for civil rights, and was met with fury. It really was fury from the mayor of D.C., who today all but accused the president of inciting violence. Don, there's a very tenuous relationship between the city of Washington, which hosts the federal government, and the mayor has relatively, during this pandemic, been quite soft on President Trump, but she unleashed on him, saying that he was scared and alone, and like I said, all but accused him of inciting violence, saying that he's being extremely divisive. So, of course, the hope is that these protests, which, as I've noted, have been almost entirely peaceful today, don't devolve into more violence. But clearly, those around the president on Friday night felt that the protests had.
Thank you very much for that. I want to get to New York City now, and CNN's Shimon Prokupecz with the very latest there. Shimon, huge crowds where you are. Tell us where you are and what you're seeing.
The biggest crowd, Don, certainly that we've seen since these protests began here in New York City. I want you to take a look, and really everyone kneeling here now, silent. And I'm going to let you listen to the silence for a few seconds here as people take a knee. And this is how
it's Foley Square.
Stops across New York City today. And we were gathered earlier, we walked from Times Square to here. They took a knee there in Times Square. It's been a very peaceful day here so far for New York City.
Yeah, Pearl
You see
Street.
the thousands of people who have been marching.
Wow.
They've been going from Union
That's right over the
to Times
Brooklyn
Square,
Bridge.
and now here, the police have been on the outside, not really interacting with the protesters. They've been letting them march in the street, march on the sidewalks, and there really has not been any confrontation. It was a remarkable moment. You can see here as police are standing around. What happened was, as we were marching along 7th Avenue, someone threw a bottle. This is the same area we were at yesterday where there were fires, trash was lit on fire. Someone threw a water bottle at the police who were standing on the side, and the protesters actually rushed in to protect the police and to keep the protesters from getting closer, and also to diffuse the situation. And that is a lot of what we've been seeing here today. The protesters here wanting to diffuse the situation, not antagonize police. And the police have been standing back and allowing them to march through the streets. And you see now, this is the Manhattan Supreme Court. This is the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Some people may be familiar with it from Law and Order. But this is where they are now gathered on, and it's been a remarkable day here so far for New York City.
Shimon Prokupecz reporting to us from downtown Manhattan. We appreciate your reporting, and it is important to see these scenes of a peaceful protest because we have seen such terrible scenes of looting, and that's where the cameras go, to the looting and the burning and the violence and the clashes with police officers. This is what this is really all about. Peaceful protest. People, young people who are fed up with what's happening in this country when it comes to the mistreatment of certain individuals in our society, namely black men by police officers. Sarah Seidner is live for us in Minneapolis, the epicenter of this for us this evening. Sarah Seidner, you have been here since really the beginning, shortly after this happened. The 6th night of protests is where are you and what are you protest? Where are you and what are you seeing tonight?
This is considered sacred ground. This is the very area where George Floyd lost his life. I want to give you a look at the scene. It is peaceful, it is prayerful, there has been song, there has been grieving. You'll see a huge circle and then a circle within a circle. And this is for George Floyd, to mourn him. This is 38, East 38 in Chicago, and I'm going to take you around just to give you a look at the scene. You know, you've seen some of this before, Dawn, where during the day, in the last couple of days, it really has been a peaceful effort, and a lot of that has to do with the community activists who have been out here for years trying to get justice, trying to get food, trying to get items to people who really need it, and they have been trying to keep the peace. And here, because this is considered sacred ground, People have decided that this will not burn. This will not be destroyed. This is a reminder of what happened. You have this large memorial to George Floyd. Someone on shows May 25th, 2020, the day he died, the day he was killed. You see, I can breathe now at the bottom of that. This is really a place of mourning. It's a place of recognizing that a life has been lost, but it is also a place of peaceful protest. There are notes all over here saying, "I can't breathe," which we have all heard far too many times. From Eric Garner, his family mourning this again, this bringing all of their emotions back to the foreground, back into their hearts. Prosecute the police, stop dehumanizing black people, Black Lives Matter. You're seeing R.I.P. George Floyd praying for change. People are hoping, they truly are hoping, that this will be the final catalyst for real change, that they won't have to come out and protest like this and stand up like this and be angry like this. They're hoping that they can finally get out of the cycle of feeling suffocated by injustices that they see in their neighborhood due to policing of black folks in America. Don?
Sarah Seidner in Minneapolis, and she's been covering these protests for us from the very beginning. Cameras are trained tonight in cities all across America, from Minneapolis to Los Angeles to Atlanta to Santa Monica to Chicago, Miami, Washington, D.C. and beyond. But what are these protests? What are they really all about? They're about the death of George Floyd. And when we get back, that's what we'll be talking about.